Sometimes I need you. When I see potential, I just gotta see it through. If you had a twin, I would still choose you. I don't wanna rush into it.
What is up, you guys? Brandon here, aka Brawadis, and today, this video that you're about to watch is my very first video on my new channel, which is Brawadis NBA. I bring you guys Brawadis NBA show. Rather than putting it on my main channel and just clustering all the videos, I just decided to make a new channel, and it's gonna be videos like this, you know, rumors, just reactions, just news about the NBA, or opinionated, like me speaking what I think about certain topics and stuff. And if you guys like that, subscribe. I love to talk NBA, and I love to talk about it with anybody who's also educated about the NBA. So that's why I made this channel. I love seeing the debates in the comment section below. One thing I do promise, because I like to record these on my webcam because it shows the orange and purple walls and obviously the Phoenix Suns background and over there. But I need to get a new mic, because this mic is trash. So what I do promise you guys, within the next week, I'm going to be getting a new mic so the audio will sound way better. But anyways, I want to get into today's video. 5 biggest surprises of the 2015-2016 NBA season and the 5 biggest disappointments. I'm going to start off with the 5 biggest surprises. I was going to do an order, but honestly, if you're a surprise team, you're a surprise team. And these are the 5 biggest surprises. First surprise I want to mention is the Toronto Raptors, because yes, they were a good team last year. Yes, they were a playoff team, and I mean, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, you know, like Valanciunas, and DeMar Carroll, they're a good team, but you're lying to my face if you told me that you expected the Toronto Raptors to be the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference, ahead of Atlanta, ahead of Chicago, you know, like ahead of Miami, who got a bunch of new pieces, and not just 2nd seed. They could be 2nd seed and way far away from Cleveland, who's 1st. They're 2 games back from the Cleveland Cavaliers for that 1st seed in the East. And like, I don't know, Toronto, I mean, I picked them to be a playoff team, but there's the 2nd seed, and it's not just about being the 2nd seed. You see the way they play is they value teamwork. They value chemistry, which is why they were in need of a power forward. You know, Markieff Morris, they could have got him for cheap. They value chemistry. They're not going to ruin their team chemistry. That's what they base their success off. And Kyle Lowry is playing like a monster. Like last night, 43 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. That's a crazy stat line. My second surprise team, the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics, the 3rd seed in the East with about 20 games to go. What? This is a team that got killed in the first round of the playoffs last year. Did not add any major pieces in the offseason. Like, they're the 3rd seed, and they're Isaiah Thomas, fucking all-star. And, of course, former Phoenix Sun. He leaves the team and makes an all-star game. But Boston was supposed to be a fringe playoff team, you know, fighting for the playoffs. Instead, they're a solid log for the playoffs. 3rd seed. They're going to be having home court advantage in the first round. Boston is a surprise. Isaiah Thomas is a fucking beast. I miss him on the Phoenix Suns. I should say the Suns should regret trading him. Listen, Boston had a bunch of trade assets. They had a bunch of trade assets that they could have made a move for Blake Griffin. They could have made a move for DeMarcus Cousins, Dwight Howard, Al Horford. They could have done something at the trade deadline. But you know what? Just like the Toronto Raptors value chemistry, the Boston Celtics value chemistry even more. They have a bunch of players who, I don't want to compare them to the Warriors, but they value their roles just like the Warriors know what to do. They know their roles. The Celtics, nobody tries to do too much. They're a surprise team, and they've amazed me so far. 3rd, the Dallas Mavericks. You can say, "What? How is Dallas a surprise? They're always in the playoffs." Or like, how are they a surprise? They have Dirk. Listen to this. They lost a ton of players in the offseason. They lost a ton of players in the process trying to sign DeAndre Jordan, who actually signed with them and then backed out. They lost Monte Ellis. They lost Tyson Chandler. Chandler Parsons was out for fucking first half of the season. Dirk is damn near a piece of dust. He's 80 years old. And there you have Dallas right up there again. 6th seed. It wouldn't surprise people if they were tanking because of what happened to them in the offseason, but instead they bounced right back. They signed Wes Matthews. They signed Darren Williams, who's surprising people, and they signed JaVale McGee. Right there, 6th seed in the West. And although I don't expect them to win a playoff series, this season could have been much worse for the Dallas Mavericks. But Rick Carlisle literally one of the best coaches in the league. He knows how to get the best out of each one of his players. That roster is not very talented. The coach is great. Rick Carlisle brings the best out of his players. I wish the Suns had a coach like that. Another surprise team, and this may come as a big shock, but honestly, I'm gonna say it: the Golden State Warriors. People are gonna think I'm stupid. Oh, they have the reigning MVP. They won the championship last year. They brought back all their main key pieces. But are you kidding me? 52 wins and 5 losses. This close to beating, who knows, they could do it. This close to beating the Chicago Bulls record of 72 wins and 10 losses. They're more than halfway there. Vegas had their over-under at 60 games. Like, Vegas expected them to win around 60 games. They're at 52 with over 20 games left. They're like, when teams make trades, like this past trade deadline, they didn't look at, what trade is going to make my team better. No, they looked at what trade is going to be able to help me beat Golden State this season or in the future. You want to know why? Because the league sees it. The league sees that Golden State did not just win the championship last year. They see that Golden State is not only favorites to win it this year, but they see that this could be a dynasty, just like the older age Lakers were, just like the older age Boston Celtics were. You haven't seen one. Yeah, Miami with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh were really good, but they didn't touch the dynasties that were around decades ago, and the league is fearing that this is what the Golden State Warriors could become. So, yeah, you could have predicted them to win the championship. You could have predicted them to be number 1 seed in the West, which I didn't. I'll be the first to admit I did not predict the Warriors to finish first, or I didn't predict them to win the championship this year, but that was months ago, because how they're playing now is honestly, this could be the start of a dynasty, unless it already has started, and teams see that. And the fact that Golden State is 52-5 right now, which is the best start in NBA history, is a surprise to everybody, even Warrior fans. There's no way you guys can tell me that you expected the Warriors to challenge the Chicago Bulls 72-win, 10-loss record. My last surprise, and I know I told you I don't want to say the biggest surprise or least surprise, but the Portland Trail Blazers have to be the biggest surprise of the league. Hold on. Wes Matthews gone. Robin Lopez gone. Nick Batum gone. Steve Blake, okay, whatever, gone. And did I forget to mention LaMarcus Aldridge? Gone. Perennial All-Star, 24 point per game, 12 rebound guy, gone. Left with Damian Lillard. But they signed some good players, right? No, they tried to rebuild. They slotted CJ McCollum, who had no starting experience, into starting shooting guard spot. You know what he's done for them? He's upped his point average by 14 points a game. That's the biggest point upping, however you want to say it, in this league from last season to this season. They traded for Noah Vonleh, second-year man who got no minutes. They were tanking. They entered this season with the mindset to tank and get a top 3 pick. You want to know where they are right now? They're right behind Dallas's Buds for that 6th seed in the West. They're 7th seed. Damian Lillard, Mr. Not an All-Star, which I don't know who the hell could leave him off the All-Star team. Also, I'll be the first to admit, but if I'm admitting it, then all the experts have to admit it too, because Portland was picked by a majority of the people to be the worst team in the West. Instead, this Portland team is, you watch them play and it's like, who do they have on their team besides Lillard? And McCollum has stepped up. Just the other day, they each put up 34 apiece. How about before that? Lillard and McCollum are one of the best backcourts in the league. They're young too. Lillard's leadership ability, you could have talent. You could have a bunch of talent. But Lillard has shown that he has talent and he has a voice. He has a voice that people listen to at such a young age, which is rare. He's Bledsoe's age, maybe a year younger. Like, Bledsoe cannot lead a team. I'll be the first to admit. He can't be the first option. Lillard is showing right now that he can. Portland, all I'm going to say, Portland is a surprise. A big, big, big surprise. And it's actually fun watching them play. 5 surprises of this year: Portland Trailblazers, Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors, Golden State Warriors, and the Dallas Mavericks. Congratulations, fan bases of those 5 teams. You can proudly say that you weren't expecting this, but you got surprised in a good way, compared to the 5 fan bases that I'm about to mention right now, including myself, spoiler alert, who expected something a little higher and is watching the season go down, 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 down. I'm going to start off with the Washington Wizards, who made the playoffs last year, top 5 seed in the East, entered this season keeping John Wall, keeping Brad Beal, keeping Marcin Gortat, Nene, The only person they lost was Paul Pierce, but Otto Porter showed in the playoffs last year that he could step right in and play. They were supposed to have a breakout season this year and lure Kevin Durant in free agency. Instead, you want to know where they stand? With 20 games left, they stand outside of the NBA playoff picture. The Washington Wizards with John Wall, Brad Beal, Gortat, and newly acquired Markieff Morris, they stand outside the playoff picture. And I'm not sure if it's talent, chemistry, it could be injuries too. They are a disappointment this year because with everything in mind, clearing cap space to try to sign Kevin Durant. You think Kevin Durant is going to go to a non-playoff team? You think he's going to leave OKC? But it's not even about that. The Wizards were this was a playoff team. I don't get. They are a disappointment this year, and there's no way around it. The Washington Wizards are one of the biggest disappointments in the league, but they're not the biggest. Next disappointment of this year, the Milwaukee Bucks. Last year, the Milwaukee Bucks made the playoffs behind young defensive team with long defensive-minded players. And, they added Greg Monroe without losing anybody big. Greg Monroe, he's a beast. In the middle of you can feed him the ball in the post, he automatic 2 points. They sit at 24 wins, and I think they're the 12th seed, 11th or 12th seed in the East right now. No, they might be 13th. Actually, they're out. They're not making the playoffs. This is a team who was playing so well with Brandon Knight. They traded Brandon Knight. I don't know what they were thinking, but this is a young, talented team that just can't figure it out yet. And Milwaukee, I picked Milwaukee to make the playoffs as a 7th or 8th seed, and they just haven't lived up to their potential. They had a bunch of young players who could win games, but they're just not realizing it, I guess, and it's too late this season. Another disappointment is the New Orleans Pelicans. These Pelicans, I picked them to be 6th in the West. Last year they made the playoffs. Anthony Davis, for the love of God, he just put up a 59-point game and 20 rebounds in one game. But that's not even the point. They were supposed to be coming up, especially with the hiring of Alvin Gentry, who just won a championship with the Warriors, and he comes over to coach a young up-and-coming team. Everything was supposed to be going up, right? Wrong. Whether that's injuries, I guess injuries could play a huge part, but even when they were healthy, they just have not looked good. 23 wins, no playoffs. For a team led by Anthony Davis, who's easily one of the best players in this whole league, it makes no sense. And I guess you could say that they regret firing Monty Williams because he was a good coach. I just don't know what the Pelicans... I picked them to be 6th seed, honestly. 4th disappointment in this league is the Houston Rockets. Are you kidding me? Western Conference Finals team last year. One series away from making it to the NBA Finals. They lost to the Golden State Warriors. No shame in that. 2nd seed in the West they were last year. They come in having added Ty Lawson for nothing. They brought in a player who is borderline star point guard at a position of need. They had Harden, Ariza. They had 2 power forwards, Mo Dionis and Terrence Jones, and they had a center in Dwight Howard. They bring in Ty Lawson, push Patrick Beverley to the bench as a 6th man. And if you look up the definition of failed experiment in the dictionary, you're going to see Ty Lawson in a Houston Rockets jersey. First of all, they're talking to cut him right now. Unless they already cut him while I'm making this video, I'm not sure. But that was a failed experiment that not only backfired, but you realize that they're the 8th seed in the West. This is a team that was 2nd last year and made it to the Western Conference Finals and didn't lose any big pieces. Rather, they added a big piece. They're half a game out of falling out. They've been falling in and out of the playoffs with Utah for the past week. Before we know it, they're going to be out of the playoffs. We don't know. They might make it. They might not. But they shouldn't be in this position. You have a superstar in James Harden. You have a star in Dwight Howard. And you have 2 capable point guards, Lawson and Pat Beverley. This is just a situation. They fired Kevin McHale, which I'm sure they regret because now they know it wasn't the coach's fault. They fired him the first 5 games of the season and 5 or 6 games into the year. And Houston, if they miss the playoffs this year, this might be one of the most talented teams, just like the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, to miss it. But they had injuries. The Houston Rockets, I don't know. It's weird, but that's where they stand right now. They're half a game away from slipping out of the playoffs. They're barely clinging on to that 8th seed. But even if they make it, they're going to get killed by the Spurs or Warriors. So that shouldn't have happened, and there's no excuses for that team. They need to do something. But let me get to the biggest disappointment, not only in the NBA today, maybe one of the biggest disappointments in NBA history. Or should I say my Phoenix trash. Oh wait, I should say Phoenix shits. Or should I say Phoenix garbage? Or should I say Phoenix go to hell because you guys are a disgrace to this league. Phoenix, what the hell? This is a team that 2 years ago missed the playoffs by 1 game. They won 48 games, missed the playoffs by 1 game. Last year, they won 39, and they barely missed the playoffs. It was them, OKC, and New Orleans fighting for those last few spots. You know what they did this year in the offseason? They signed Tyson Chandler, a vet big man who has won a championship. They signed Tyson Chandler. They signed Mirza Teletovic, sharpshooting 3, stretch 4. That's what the NBA is turning to, stretch 4. They re-signed Brandon Knight, who's supposed to be a better fit next to Bledsoe than Goran Dragic was. So playoffs, right? Especially with Dallas and Portland supposedly falling off. Playoffs, right, Phoenix? Finally, for the first time in 5 years. Last time I checked the standings, the Phoenix Suns had 14 wins, 1-4. And do you know how many losses? Do you know how many losses? Answer me. 44. The Phoenix Suns have 14 wins and 44 losses.
Do you know where the blue and black basketball is?
No. The Phoenix Suns have 14 wins and 44 losses. They've lost 13 games in a row, which is the most in Phoenix Suns history. This is the worst season they've ever had, including the first year they were ever a team in the 1960s. This is the worst team they have ever had. In the last 31 games, they've won 2. 2 wins and 29 losses in the last 31 games. 1 win and 20 losses in the last 21. I just don't. This team was picked by many to make the 8th seed in the East. In the West, I should say. Make the playoffs, or if they did miss the playoffs, just to be like 9th or 10th. This right now is utterly embarrassing, and I don't care if you don't blame it on injuries. Yeah, I know Bledsoe's out. I know Knight's been out. I know TJ Warren's out. And I know Tyson Chandler has missed a bunch of games. But I could give 2 fucks because even when they were healthy, you watch this team and you're just like, does anyone care about winning? Does anybody want to play for each other? If I keep going, this video is going to be 2 hours long. So I'm going to stop right here. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of the Broadest NBA Show. The first on my new channel. Like I said, I'm going to be getting a new mic. And also, I want to try to make these videos without looking up stats. I don't have nothing on my phone. I have no other tabs. I want to try to bring these to you from my head because I trust my NBA knowledge. And so, yeah, that's 5 biggest surprises, 5 biggest disappointments. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And, yeah, I love you guys all. Comment what you think in the comment section below.